Hey DIYers, welcome back. This will be part 2 of the banana plug or speaker terminal review session. In this video, I will continue reviewing the banana plugs, speaker connectors, and give you my opinion and kind of an overview / review of what I think about them. If you haven't seen part 1, please go ahead and do so. At the end, I will give you my opinion of which ones are kind of the best ones, according to me. Hopefully this will be informative and help you choose your style or give you an idea of each one of these plugs and what they look like and how to use them and if they're nice enough for your application. So let's jump into it.
The next one in line is a little bit more unique. It's this kind of banana plug. It's got the 9 tines here. It's a little shorter tip. In here you just insert the wire in here. Obviously it will accept up to a certain gauge. This is much smaller entry than the other ones, but you can solder it. You can have a nice clean install. It's got its places to be considered. It's very clean. I kind of like it, but I haven't really used it yet. And for example, in here I think we can insert probably a 10 gauge, but obviously it's gonna be tight. It's pretty cool. It's about an inch and a quarter. It's one of the simpler ways to install it, but I don't think it's necessarily the cheaper one out of these because there's not that many of them. The next one is the BFA style. It's a little different than a banana, but it still kind of falls in the same category. It's got kind of like these teeth here. It's a whole piece of metal shroud here. The reason is because this is a European standard. BFA stands for British Federation of Audio or something of the sort. I guess in Europe, instead of having just a hole, I think in Europe they have pins inside these terminals. So when you insert this guy, it kind of goes through. So it's kind of hard to insert this guy, I found out, compared to the other ones. But it makes a very solid connection. I kind of like it. They're pretty popular and it looks like it makes a really good connection with the terminal as well, because it makes such a tight fit. Right, so here's with the shroud out. It's pretty same construction as the other ones. Huge hole in the back. He'll go into the M6 hole, screw hole here. It only has one screw. Here's the length of it. It's pretty long, 1.75 inches. I like that this extends a little bit more. It inserts all the way into the binding post. The caliper in here will have 4.5 millimeters, 4.6 millimeters of cable entry here. Ton of wire inside of it. The only problem with this particular one is that it only has one screw. I'm not crazy about it only having one screw, and it's not the biggest screw here as well. Seawall has a bigger screw as well. So we're nearing the end here with the last 2 types in here, which I kind of like as well. I haven't used them before. So these are locking types, banana plugs. And this one, the overview, it's pretty solid, pretty hefty, nice built. It's got a huge hole in the back for entry. It's got plenty of space for movement for these screws here. There's 2 of them as well, so it's going to make a very nice contact to the cable. They're both on the same side. They're pretty thick, looks like it. And the way these work is you kind of see this guy here spins and pushes this spring-loaded kind of like pin inside of this barrel. This is a barrel instead of regular banana, so it kind of expands the tip. And you can kind of see it here. It's expanding the tip here, so it kind of like locks it. So if I release it all the way out, you can kind of see it press itself. This is the minimum position, and then once you tighten it up, it expands and it locks into the terminal block. So this one's pretty nice. I like it. However, in practice, since I have a different style of locking ones, you'll put it in here. It's very loose, right? So you kind of have to put it in here. You're gonna have to hold it, and then you're gonna like tighten it up. And then yeah, okay, it's pretty tight. Oh, but I can pull it out. So I can. This is as tight as I can kind of get it in there, but I can still kind of pull it out. So it's pretty good. This is like a really good kind of like constant position here that it will work like a regular banana style. So it's pretty good. It works, but I think this has its limits, the way how much you can kind of turn it. I don't think you can turn it in such a way that you'll never be able to pull this guy out. So they give you this Allen wrench, this little tiny Allen wrench to pull these Allen screws out, and they're pretty beefy. It's a huge hole here, so you can shove a ton of wire in here. I really like the heft of it. I like the construction of it. I just don't like this mechanism here because it doesn't let me grip it so hard that I can lock it very well easily. Kind of has to deal with the last one I'll go over. It's nice. It's very nice. It's also kind of pricey as well. So it's almost 2 inches in length overall. The cable entry here is huge. 6.7 millimeters in here. Here's a reference here. It's like, it's got so much space in here. This is a 12 gauge wire. Maybe one screw for the wire and the other one for the jacket. I believe they want to enter like a whole jacket in here. Right, and here's the last style here. It's also another locking style. It's definitely one of the most unique ones in here. And this is the pin mechanism on this one. You can kind of see how it does the locking mechanism look like. You can take it out. So this is what it is. This goes all the way inside here, and as you kind of keep tightening it up, it kind of expands the tip here to open up and grab onto the binding posts inside of it. This is a kind of a famous design. I believe it was done by WBT, but it's a very expensive connector by that company. They're like $100 each or something like that. These weren't cheap either. I think they were like $20 for the whole package. I'll list all the prices in the video. Here's how it works. You'll loosen it up, you'll put it into your speaker terminal, and then you'll tighten it up in the back. Yeah, you can kind of put your heft into it. Extremely hard to pull it out. So it's a better, much superior locking mechanism to this one in here. I kind of like this one better. It's got a huge entry hole with the 2 screws in here. I think it's got a 2-stage kind of thing going on in there. Not a very thick wall, but I believe you can. It kind of tapers in as the wire goes inside. I don't know if you can kind of see that in here. And what I like about this one is that it's completely insulated. This is one of the most more unique features of it. It's got a plastic shell around it, just like this binding post. It's less likely that you'll short anything out. Once they're connected, these two guys here, they're both plastic shells. Let's say you drop a piece of wire or something like that, you touch it, your cat goes behind and touches across the 2 terminals. You don't get shocked, so takes my vote for one of the safer connectors out there. Here's the size of it, pretty close to 1.75 inches, huge entry of 6.75 millimeters. I really like this connector here, although it is one of the most expensive ones that we have in here.
Alright folks, in conclusion, these are all really good choices. I'm really impressed by this one. I kind of really like it, even though it doesn't have enough screws for me. I wish I had more screws. It's probably going to be my 4th choice. It's got 1 screw, but it's very well constructed, and I kind of like it a lot. It makes really good contact once it's inserted. I think my top pick will still be with the 2 screw designs, like the Seawell one, but I'm going to go with the Monoprice next time for my next build and my recommendation. 2 screws, very solid body. That's really nice for me for pretty much any cable that you can build here. So I'm going to go with that with choice number 1. This one is really my choice number 2 because it's such a solid construction and such easy to install for home theater installation. It's got the 9 tines. You can insert the wire from the back. You can insert a banana in the back if you want. And then it's very easy installation with the cable on the side here, and tighten it up. Bam, you're done in like 5 seconds. It's very hefty. I don't really have number 1, honestly. They're all kind of like equal. I really like this one. This one is insulated. It's got, you can put a whole wire in there with a jacket and tighten it up with 2 screws. Fully insulated, so you don't get any shorts. The speaker is very easy to tighten and use, and once it's in there, it is very hard to come out. This is honestly the kind of ultimate speaker connector, honestly, if you ask me. I love it. The original one from WBT is $100, and they came up with this design, I believe, and it really is a very good design. It's also the most expensive one too. These being relatively cheap, if not the cheapest ones, and I really like this one. But you can't really go wrong with any of them. These are my kind of opinions here. And quite honestly, my perfect connector would be a 2 screw design of this BFA connector. I would love to see that. If this had 2 screws, this might be my top pick. If I could find a 9 tine. Like this, with these tines a little bit longer, like this tip here, with the 2 screw design body. That's my ultimate one. I could not find this. I cannot find this anywhere. If you find one, please let me know if you find a tine one with 2 screws. Yeah, but this is a very fine connector here too. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you going to this video with me, and hopefully you've seen some interesting information. Please subscribe and follow. Leave me a comment down below. What do you think about these connectors? Is there something else I could use? You could recommend anything else. I'd love to hear it. I'm very interested in seeing other styles.
And then try to pull it out. You can't. Oh shit.